What's up, people? You're watching a clip from the WRESTHINGS podcast. Make sure you follow us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and give us a 5-star review. By the man dem, for the man dem.
Obviously, there was rumours this week that Kenny Omega was going to join WWE.
That he's open. He's
open
open.
to join WWE after the contract ends. Obviously, that's when 2024.
At the end of 2024.
I think so, yeah.
What are we saying about that? How you man feeling?
I think if Triple H is still in charge, it will be fine. Because even like I always say, obviously because at the moment WWE, like I said, I don't think it's fully his product yet because he still has to undo a lot of Vince's mistakes.
Vince is back.
But even if you watch NXT, like I say, recently I'm watching a lot of indies, innit? If you watch NXT, a lot of the time Triple H just let them wrestle their style. Vince, like when you watch Rey Mysterio now, even back then, and watch him like when he went back on the indies for a bit, was very different. Like Vince or whoever the producers made them wrestle a certain style. I think if Kenny comes in, I think Triple H pretty much gives him free reign. Especially if Jay White ends up there as well, and if Cody's still there, and if Roman's done his Hollywood time and he's back, you know what I mean? It looks good. I'm
gonna tackle this on two fronts. From WWE, like what Atlas said, I feel like if Triple H is there, he'll have a good run. Cool. As somebody who likes AEW, I do not want that, and it's not even just because of like tribalism shit. It's like for me, I don't feel like obviously all elite wrestling, the elite are super part of AEW, and I feel like having the core of AEW go, for me, I don't know. I'd be less invested in the product personally, and that's just personally speaking. I'd be a lot less invested in that product because the way the product was built was off the elite's backs, innit? Was off their backs. And it's like, of course they've brought in guys that can certainly carry the torch. Obviously Danielson you got. But for me, it's not AEW without the elite.
Yeah.
It's not. So for me, losing like Kenny Omega, and whenever Kenny Omega goes, the Bucks are going too. Losing them, man, from AEW, to me, is like, what the fuck? What the fuck's going on? But in terms of like looking at it from WWE's perspective, it'd be a massive signing. It'd be a great signing.
I definitely hear you.
I gotta ask you, bro. When the elite retire and they're finished, what are you gonna think of AEW now?
No, that's different.
It's gonna have to happen.
It's
at
true
some
because
point.
like I look at it like this here. For example, I get it. For 100%, AEW was built off the back of the elite, but then the elite shouldn't be the alpha and omega of this company. We look at companies like All Japan Pro Wrestling. The founders and the people that built that company ended up leaving. Yeah. Same way with Noah. The people that the company was built on, God rest his soul, passed away, and there were people that ended up moving to different companies. Like I feel like it's just the evolution of wrestling. A company will always be built on people, and they can move on. It's just a matter of building the next people that this company can rest on. So I mean, if they leave, I get it. Me in my head, I'm thinking, the all elite without elite, it's not that. But at the same time, it's also a thing of like looking forward to, okay, cool, what can this company do without that? Like, it's make or break. If Kenny leaves and the Young Bucks leave, it's a matter of, okay, cool, what can Tony do with those who he's building a company on now?
And I feel like the reason why I'm not ready, my response to retirement angle is when they retire, I feel like there's still a lot of money, there's still a lot of value to them. If they get to the point where they retire, obviously, they'd be like, they would have done a lot more in their careers in AEW and would have got to a point where we've seen it, we've done it all, now it's time to retire. I feel like there's still a lot of money in the table with AEW. That's why I'm like, you know what, there's money on the table here, and plus they're the founders. You know what, finish it and then see what happens.
NK, you know what, I hear what you're saying, yeah, but I feel like the longer they stay there, the harder it's going to be to separate them from the company. If you separate them now, it will be much easier to say, yeah, the elite were here once upon a time. Now we've got this new crop of talent that we can. Not really, because they're like, what they're doing now is like they're away from the title. They're not doing anything like major, like that's very much in the title picture, but they're still around. So I feel like you can slowly phase them out and it'll be fine. But I just think a mass exodus that's dramatic, I don't know. And already we've come, and I would hear you, man, as well, yeah, if it was like company morale was at a high. Company morale is not at a high right now. In general, with product perception and even in the locker room right now. And then removing those figures isn't going to add any positive news to that company either.
But at the same time, they're not also, I mean, like we've know that the roster's split in terms of like who they decided to follow. Do you know what I mean? So whether they leave or not, the company morale will still be where it is. Of course, there are people that are with the elite and there's people that weren't with the elite. So I don't think that makes any difference. I feel like when you like from a business aspect, when you're creating a business, people always ask you, do you have an exit strategy? Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So for them, their exit strategy for them is maybe, you know what, at some point, we're gonna grow this business and we want this to thrive. But let's be real. We know, and it's been said, they may have plans to go to the WWE, and I'm not going to be mad at it.
So we know for facts the Bucks and Omega spoke to Triple H in 2018. Yeah. You know, thinking about the move there, and they were all kind of open to it. But it's like Vince is in charge booking it. But we can't come to NXT because of the money we're gonna ask for. It has to be main roster. You see what I mean? And that's all the stumbling blocks and stuff. I think right now we're all kind of questioning like what's going on AEW TV, and it's predominantly because the likes of the elite aren't in the main stories and pictures. So the company already hinges heavy on them. Like, it's obvious. If Omega's to walk away, I think they're in hot pepper soup, bruv. Like, I think they're in trouble because even from a place of like, he's looking at Cody. Cody is basically walked out the company. Cody had previous to WWE and all of that. Cody's walked into the main event of WrestleMania. And another man will be looking at that, probably thinking, like, I'm better than Cody. I'm better than Cody. And I could, you know, with the right booking and stuff, I could walk into the main event of WrestleMania. And we're happy we're in a place where we don't need, you know, one company. Not everyone's fighting for the same place. There's AEW now that are providing, you know, similar, if not, you know, similar wages at least, so people can earn a living. Like, but we cannot lie. WWE, WrestleMania, main event, it's the pinnacle. It's the pinnacle of why you got into this business. That's the highest place of where you can be in it. Yeah. And if Omega still wants that moment before he you know, signs off, calls it a day, whatever, like, it's very possible. But I just think I don't really know what I think is going to happen, because even him entertaining it, saying that, you know, I could go, I don't know if that's a double bluff, is that a negotiating tool for his contract, because I don't think it's something you would necessarily say if you were actually planning to go.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to go.
Yeah, right. So
I feel like he's wrestled so everywhere. I feel like for him, he's the kind of person who wants to test himself. He wants to go to WWE, have a match with Roman Reigns.
I mean, he was signed there, and then he got let go, innit? So
yeah, that's true. He was developmental. Yeah,
it was development, innit?
I mean, I would love to see the moment of him at Mania. I can't lie.
I'm cheesing in my head. I'm smiling because I think to myself, I can actually see this guy walking out on Monday Night Raw, you know, as on a casual day, like as in for his match or something. I'm actually picturing that in my head.
I think people need to deep that Cody leaving is a big deal.
Big deal.
Like, because just like we're saying, he's part of the elite. Yeah. He may not be as tight knitted as the other three, Bucks and Omega, but he was part of the elite. He's part of the founding members of AEW, and he walked out.
What's up, people? You're watching a clip from the WRESTHINGS podcast. Make sure you follow us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and give us a 5-star review. By the man dem, for the man dem.